Our lesson today is about heat energy. We can get heat from friction and from the sun, changing mechanical energy into heat energy by friction, or we can get heat energy by the sun. And first we are going to talk about an activity to show temperature and friction. We will get a bike. Place your bike inverted upside down, as in the figure. Then let the pedals turn fast. Then press the brakes of the bike strongly. Then try to touch the tire. As the rotation stops, touch the frame of the wheel. What do you feel? Of course you will feel hot, because mechanical energy change into heat energy. Friction turns mechanical energy into heat energy. Also, we have another activity about movement of particles and temperature. Put some identical spheres made of metallic spheres in a plastic cup or in a plastic bottle. Then determine the sphere's temperature first. Place another identical cup above the first one and start to shake them. Invert the position of the two cups upside down for 20 or 30 times. Then determine the temperature. Of course, the metallic spheres inside the bottle, they will make friction, and the friction will change into heat energy. We change kinetic energy into heat energy. And by increasing the speed of shaking, the heat energy will increase. Sphere movement and its friction with each other cause temperature rise. The temperature is raised as the speed of the spheres increase, as the kinetic energy of the particles increase. So, the kinetic energy change into heat energy, because the spheres movement and their friction with each other rise the temperature. The temperature is directly proportional to the speed of the object and therefore with the kinetic energy. We have another activity about how is heat energy transferred. And the first we will get a cup of water. And determine its energy. For example, if it was 20 Celsius degree, then bring another beaker and put in it a metallic hollow body as nut fastening. You can use a metallic piece tied with a thread as nut fastening. Then boil the water. Put it on the heater and start to boil the water. When the water boils, its temperature will be 100 Celsius degree. Then transfer the metallic piece into the first cup here. Then measure the temperature. You will find that the temperature of the water will increase. It was 20 Celsius degree, it will be 25 Celsius degree. The temperature of the water on putting the hot nut fastener in it is more than the temperature of the tap water and less than the temperature of the boiled water, because its temperature became 25 Celsius degree. Heat is transferred from object of high temperature to another with low temperature. Then it stops when they are equal in temperature. The nut fastener will give the water until both of them are equal in temperature. The temperature of the nut fastener will be 25 and the temperature of the water also will be 25. They will be equal in temperature. From that we can conclude the definition of heat energy and temperature. Heat energy, it is a form of energy which will transfer from high temperature object to lower temperature object. Heat transfer from high to low, and not the opposite, not from lower to higher. Heat energy, it is a form of energy that transfer from high temperature object to low temperature object. And the temperature is the condition which determine the direction of heat energy, whether from or to the object. If it is the higher object, it will give the heat energy. The heat energy will transfer from it. But if the object is the lower in temperature, the object will take the energy, or the heat energy will transfer to it. So it is the direction, it determines the direction of the heat energy, whether from or to the object, when it comes in a contact with another object. And as we said, directly temperature or heat energy is directly proportional with the kinetic energy of the particles, because when the kinetic energy increases, the temperature will increase. Ways of heat transfer. Heat transfer by 3 ways. Heat energy transfer by three ways. By conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction is for solid matter. Convection is for liquid and gas. Radiation is for material medium and non-material medium. Non-material medium, which means space or vacuum, like the space or vacuum. At the first, we are going to talk about conduction. Conduction is like when you put, if you have a hot cup of tea and you put the spoon in it. This is the hot cup of tea, and you touch the hot spoon, you will find after a while it became hot. So heat transfer from the part of the spoon which is inside the tea, which has higher in temperature, to the part which is lower in temperature. So in conduction, heat transfer from high temperature part to lower temperature part. Conduction, the heat transfer by conduction through some solid object, like the metallic spoon, from the side which is higher in temperature to the other side which is lower in temperature. So conduction, it is a transfer of heat through some solids, from the part with higher in temperature to the part which is lower in temperature, from the part which is higher in temperature to the part which is lower in temperature. So cooking pots are made of copper and aluminium because they are good conductors of heat. And when you put the metallic spoon in a cup of hot tea for a time, you will feel hotness of the spoon because heat transfer through solid objects by conduction. Heat will transfer through solid objects by conduction. Now we will talk about convection. Convection, as we said, it is the way of transfer of heat in liquids and gas. In convection, the molecules which are higher in temperature, or the hot molecules, they have low density. They have low density, so they rise up. And the molecules which have low or cold temperature, they are cold in temperature or they have lower temperature, they have high density. They have high density, so they will fall down. Again, the molecules which have higher temperature, they will have low density, so they will rise up. And the molecules which have a low temperature or they are cold, they have high density, so they will fall down. Transfer heat by convection, it is a transfer of heat in gas and liquid, where hot molecules which have less density will rise up, and the molecules or cold molecules which have more density, they will fall down. Life applications about convection, like the fridge and air conditioner and the electric heater. At the first, we will talk about the fridge. Why always the freezer at the top of the fridge? The freezer of the fridge is found at the top of the freezer. This is the fridge and this is the freezer. At the first, the freezer cool the air. So when the freezer cool the air will have high density, because the cold air, or as we said, cold molecules have high density, so they will fall down. They will fall down into the fridge to cool the food, Then, when the cold air cool the food, the warm air or the hot air will have low density, so it will rise up to the freezer to be cooled again by the freezer. The freezer at the top of the fridge, because when the air is cooled by the freezer, its density increase, and so it fall down to cool the food. It will fall down to cool the food of the refrigerator, while the hot air, which low density, rise up to be cooled again by the freezer, and so on. The other application of convection is the heater, the electric heater. The electric heater is placed at the bottom of the room. If we imagine this is the electric heater, the cold air which have high density will fall down. High density will fall down to the heater to be heated by the heater. But the hot air which have low density will rise up to warm the room. Hot air has low density, so it will rise up to warm the room. The electric heater is always found at the bottom of the room, because when the air around the heater is heated, its density decreases, so it rises up to warm the room, while the cold air which has high density fall down to be heated again, and so on. Also, another application about convection, the air conditioner. The air conditioner is found at the upper part of the room. This is the air conditioner. The air conditioner is found at the top of the room or upper part of the room to cool the air. When the air conditioner cool the cooled air, as we said, it has high density, so it fall down. High density, and it will fall down. But the hot air, which has low density, it will rise up to be cooled by the air conditioner, and so on. To cool the air in the upper part of the room where the density increase, so it will fall down, while the hot air rise up to be cooled again, and so on. Now we will talk about radiation. Radiation occurs in material medium and non-material medium. Non-material means space or vacuum. Transfer of heat by radiation. It is a transfer of heat from hot object to another without any need for material medium through which heat transfer. The heat of the sun, like the heat of the sun. If we imagine this is the sun and this is the earth, our planet earth. How can heat transfer from the sun to our planet earth? It can't transfer by conduction because between sun and the earth there is nothing, there is vacuum or space. And it can't transfer by convection because also there is no liquid or no gas. So the way of transfer of heat from the sun to the earth by radiation, because radiation can occur in material medium or non-material. It occurs without any need for material medium. It can occur in the space or vacuum. The heat of the sun is transferred to the earth without any need for material medium, and this way is known as radiation, because between sun and earth there is nothing, there is only space or vacuum. Heat transfer by radiation through material medium and the non-material medium. The heat is transferred from the heater to our body by convection and radiation. If we are going to talk about the heater, when I stand in front of the heater, there is air between the heater and our body, so heat will transfer by convection and also by radiation. Heat is transferred from all sources of light by convection and by radiation. By convection and by radiation. While heat is transferred by the sun, by radiation only because between the sun and the earth there is only vacuum or space. We wear dark objects in the winter to absorb the heat of the sun, and we wear light clothes or white clothes in summer to reflect sunlight. Now we will talk about some technological applications about the heat. Like the heater. The electric heater uses electric energy and they change it into heat energy. The same for the water heater, it uses electric energy and they change it into heat energy. The stove or the gas stove use natural gas and they change it into heat energy. So the resource of energy here is the natural gas or fuel, which is chemical energy, and also ovens. Some of these applications work by petroleum fuel, and the petroleum fuel is non-permanent or non-renewable. Some other applications work by solar energy, like the solar heater, and as we studied before that the sun is a permanent resource of energy. Some pollute the environment like the fuel, and some don't pollute the environment like the solar energy. Here there is an exercise. Electric heater work by electricity and it's non-polluting the environment. Electric water heater also work by electricity which is non-polluting the environment. Solar heater works by solar energy which is non-polluting the environment. The electric stove works by electricity which is non-polluting the environment. Gas stove works by natural gas which is polluting the environment. Solar ovens work by the solar energy which is non-polluting the environment, and as we said, sun is a permanent source of energy. The sun is very important. Solar energy is considered the cleanest and the cheapest source of energy. Let's talk about the sun, because at the first we said we can get heat from friction and by the sun. The sun gives us solar energy. In the plant, we can change the plants by photosynthesis process can change solar energy into chemical energy because they make their own food, and food is a chemical energy. Solar energy is considered the cleanest, cheapest source of energy and don't pollute the environment. Solar energy can change into other forms of energy. At the first, we can change it into chemical energy, can be changed into chemical energy that is stored in plants by photosynthesis process because plants make their own food. Also, it can be changed into chemical energy which is stored in petroleum fuel, oil and coal in the fuel. Also, it can be changed into heat energy. In the solar furnace or solar oven and the solar heater. In the solar heater or solar oven. Also, it can be changed into electric energy in the solar cells. The solar energy is the cause of wind and wind movement which has kinetic energy, and the kinetic energy of the wind can be used by windmills or wind generators which change it into electric energy. Solar energy is very important because it is the main source of most of energies on the earth. Thank you, my students.